Welcome to the Forward Podcast. This is your host, Carrie.
And I'm your co-host, Thomas, and we're so glad that you are listening, whether you're in your car or on your way to work or just got done working out. We're so appreciative of you tuning in each and every week. And Carrie, we've had a crazy week so far for us.
It's been a very crazy week. It's been very busy. I feel like we say that every time.
I know. I was telling
true.
someone just the other day, I said, it's so funny how we go through life and we're like, oh, as soon as the summer hits, everything's going to calm down. We're going to have so much time. Summer gets here and we are more busy than ever.
I was just talking about this tonight with our youth pastor's wife, Missy, and she was like, I regret, overbooking this week. And I said, oh, I regretted overbooking that week. And we were just joking about like, this is crazy. This is insane.
It's not just us, the
No.
whole world. There's never, it seems like a season of rest anymore. Even
I know.
breaks in school, you always have to travel. You got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Summer comes. And although I will say, when summer comes, not to be one of those old people that constantly look in the rearview mirror, but I am right here. I'm just going to own it. We did used to have a much longer break from school. I feel like than our kids do nowadays.
Don't even get me started on this topic.
No, I want to get you started on this topic. You
be,
go, girl. Let them have it.
It's basically, I feel like it's basically June and July. I feel like summer used to be May, June, July, August.
Yes.
And now it's down to like 2 months.
We always used to start Labor Day.
After Labor Day.
Yes.
Yeah. We did too.
Always the Tuesday after Labor Day. All the schools in the South, that's when we started. And I feel like most people, whether Midwest or in the South, that's what everyone says.
Yeah.
And now all schools get out in almost June. And then our school systems here in Indianapolis, not our Christian schools, but our public schools.
Go back in July, late
July.
Ridiculous.
That's unbelievable.
That's horrible.
Yeah. That's
horrible.
Like
I'm
7,
glad
8
we
weeks and done.
Yeah, we are at least done end of May, and then we don't start back till the second week in August. It's better. But we do have more breaks through the school year. Don't you think?
Do we? I guess so.
Yes,
like God,
we do.
Compared
to people that are ending, some public schools end in June. Why are we even talking about this?
I don't even know. What got us started on that? We're debating on stupid school. Who cares? I am so sorry, y'all.
Should we start over?
No, we have to do this now. But we will quickly change the subject.
No one. Maybe some people do.
I bet,
but not enough to listen to us.
50% of people who started this podcast already turned it off. Like, oh mercy! This is the old couple talking about the good old days of.
Let me tell you,
back in Mayberry when they used to start, school after Labor Day. Oh my word! So I do apologize.
Whatever. We're not even talking about kids or parenting or anything tonight.
No, isn't that great?
Here's why we started that is because we haven't seen each other in like 4 days. So this is. We got out of church tonight and we got home and it was like, hey, we also have to record a podcast. And so that was bugging both of us.
Yes. We're doing so well and keeping way ahead on our podcast. Then all of a sudden it just, for the last couple of weeks, it has caught up with us.
Yeah.
We have some episodes that just aren't quite ready to launch out there yet. So it's like, I guess this is the time. We'll get in front of the camera and talk for a little while, and especially I am kind of excited about the subject this evening, Care, because I think this is going to be a great help, but we're going to have to break it up into several different episodes because if we run them together, you're going to be a little bit frustrated. And so
there's a lot of information on this topic.
There is.
It's keeping love alive in your marriage.
Right.
And so this is obviously we don't do a lot of podcasts specific to one group of people, but we feel that this is really important in our culture, kind of the breakdown of marriage and the high divorce rate. So we want to be a help. We want to share what we do, and we have a great relationship. We enjoy one another, and so we want to help any marriage really. But specifically, if you are a Christian, you're a believer. Obviously, this will be more applicable because that's the background that we're coming from. But we are excited to talk about this.
For sure.
So let's dig in.
So keeping love alive. And so let's start out by saying this: no matter where you're at in your marriage, this is not just for those who've been married for 6 months, 6 weeks, or even 6 years. This is for anyone. I knew you were going to laugh at that, and I said it anyway.
You realize that's 3 6s. You now cursed.
I didn't get to finish there, Miss Antichrist. Would you just please let me back? I could have said, or 6 decades. Would you get back over here?
Or 6 seconds.
Okay, if you need this podcast after 6 seconds of being married, you're in big trouble, and you need a lot more than a forward podcast. You were going down in time.
You were like,
I was not. I was going up.
You were?
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
think so. 6 minutes.
Well, we'll have a bet right now. Shake on it. Where are we going?
I just kept hearing 6.
6. Okay, so
you did, because you said 6 months and then you said 6 weeks. I win. What do I get?
You get to finish this episode with your loving Antichrist of a husband who uses 666. This is horrible.
Sheesh.
Or if it doesn't matter if you've been married for 7 months,
7 years,
100 years, or if your marriage feels like you've been married for 700 years, you know what I'm saying?
We are
this
rusty.
episode is for you, for
Yes.
sure. And so where we'd like to start tonight is just giving you some tips from our marriage on keeping the love alive. And so where we'd like to start is dating your spouse and continuing to date your spouse. Kara, are you still laughing? If we start to keep laughing, it's going to be forever long. You're crying.
We've been apart for a while, and you just cracked me up. You are so funny to me, and that really that one got me. Sorry.
You want to talk? I feel like I've been speaking for 7 minutes. Not 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
No, go. All right, I'm good. I promise. I'm good.
Do you want to date or no?
We are dating. This is our date night now.
All right,
this is our date night.
I have a great time with you.
That
girl.
will like lead into our points so well, because what I was going to speak about was like being flexible with your date life.
Oh, yeah,
and
cool.
Here you go. Laugh on a podcast.
Okay, so let's talk first of all. Once again, dating your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, Kara, the importance of date nights.
Yeah.
Why? It doesn't have to be date nights, but just dating your spouse, no matter what stage you're in. Why is it important?
Well, obviously, it's the priority. You know, it's making that person that you've chosen to spend your life with your priority, and being alone together, talking, laughing, goofing off, and having those times of lightness is so important. We go through a lot, and I know, we make everything applicable to our stage because that's where we're coming from. But even as newlyweds, you're learning how to be together and be apart from your families, or even if you live near family, being, again, making each other a priority. If you've been married a long time, if you've been married 40, 50 years, now you've got grandkids, most likely, you've got grown adult children, and it's just so important to have that person as a part of your everyday life. And I'm shocked in our stage of life how easily my everyday life can exclude you. That's because right. I'm, directing the kids, I'm running errands, I'm meeting up with friends or ministering in my capacities at church, meal planning, grocery shopping, and I could list a million other things, and moms out there know. But a lot of times, like, it doesn't have to include you, practically speaking, and you are the exact same. Even today, we're doing our thing at church. We come home. I think I saw you for 20 minutes. Maybe. We were discussing the morning, and I think your question was like, where were you this morning? I was in nursery. And then I had to take London to swim lessons. You had to jet over to Lowe's and pick up some stuff for the lawn, I think you did. And our day, just until right now, we did not include each other in our day. Like, we didn't have to. I had my things and he had his. And so it's so important to schedule those times just to say, like, hey, we're actually in this together, and this is our life together. And it can become very exclusive. It can become just kind of like your roommates if you're not careful. And that's, sometimes it's just life and you have to roll with that for a couple days. I've just been away at a retreat up in Wisconsin. You will be away next week speaking at a camp. And that's life. It happens. But we have to make a priority. And so I think that's the biggest reason that date nights are so vitally important.
I think, yeah, just piggyback on that. I think for me, there's two reasons why it's vitally important for everybody. First of all, it does keep the spark alive in your marriage. It's so important that there's so many people who say, "Oh, I fell in love," and then there's quite a few people that say we fell out of love.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You need to be very careful about that because the responsibility is on both parties to keep that spark alive. You said, "I do." You stood before the Lord. You put the ring on. At some point, there was a spark and some fire in your relationship, and where does it go? And what dating your spouse does is it really does keep that spark in the marriage. And then secondly, it will help you to continue to get to know and to remember who it was you married.
Yeah.
And there are so many people, I said it on a couple episodes back. I just want to say it again because I had a lot of comments on it. But there are so many people that their kids leave the house and then they stare at each other. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people get divorced right after their kids leave the house. And I'll tell you why. They dated their kids for 18 years and they didn't date each other. They were married to the work. They were married to taking kids to ball practice and watching their kids and dance and cheerleading and football and tennis. And they forgot to date each other. And then they leave the house and they're empty nesters and they're staring at each other.
Yeah.
Whereas Kira, we're not even close to that happening in our relationship. But when these kids leave the house, number one, we're going to do a happy dance. Number two, I don't want to just stare at Carrie and who are you and what do we do with our time? This is so boring. And I wish our kids were at home. We want a connection now.
Yeah.
We want that to continue. And so I will say this, date nights, guys, you may not think that is a big deal, but to your wife, it is a massive deal.
Yes.
And even if she says, "Oh, it's not a big deal," and we've got too much going on, we don't want to spend the money. Deep down, she absolutely does. I'm not calling her a liar, but it is definitely it's I don't want to say an innate, but it's definitely inside of a woman that she wants to get to know her husband and continue to know her husband. And what dating does is it gets all the obstacles out of your life and allows you to concentrate on each other. So is it important? Oh man, it's vitally important for that spark, and it helps you to continue to get to know each other. So, Kara, let's talk a little bit about date night ideas. You want to do that?
Oh yeah,
why don't you start there?
Yeah. So ours have changed over the years. Obviously, before kids, it was much easier, and we would plan a whole evening. Remember that?
Oh, okay.
We would go out to dinner. We would go on a drive. We might go see a movie, whatever. Now it's changed just because of the increased activities in our life with, we have 2 or 3 kids in sports and, the ministry is bigger and things like that. So I think it's really important to stay flexible in your dating life. I really do. And as a woman, I'm speaking to women from my point of view, you have to show contentment. Like a lot of times, and I've heard women say, he took me out to lunch, but we only went to, Jimmy John's or, and they'll kind of complain or be unhappy.
I love Jimmy John's.
I know. But to a woman, that's not romantic.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That's not. But it'll be kind of this like sense of, well, he tried, but it wasn't good enough.
Yes.
That is so wrong. And it's not that you have to lower your standard, but you have to consider the stage of life that you are in and like what kind of time do you have and is he trying, right? And to make him feel good when he does try about just the fact that he did, that he planned something and show that appreciation. And then, you can slowly like kind of, okay, next time let me plan it. And then you come up with something and kind of show your other, your spouse like what you enjoy by what you plan. And then you can kind of go from there. But you do have to be content if you're in a really, really busy stage of life, like do something that might be a little faster. Right now, like our go-to dates it's just coffee. Yeah, and that sounds boring, but we laugh a lot, we talk, but it's more frequent.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
if we had to do a dinner night, like all romantic, get dressed up, go out to dinner, we wouldn't do them that often.
Right.
But we can do coffee at least once a week.
Right.
And sometimes, most of the time, I would say we do it twice a week. We
Yeah.
run for a coffee or a drink or whatever. And so consider your stage of life. And for us, it's coffee right now. And when we were first married, we did a lot of like go to the movies or we would go see a show. I know we went to like the theater a couple times in California. But consider your life stage and do something that you both enjoy or take turns swapping out for. I know like my parents are so cute. They've been married over 40 years. And my mom just went to a baseball game with my dad. And she was like, I hate going to baseball games. But she went and they had a great time and she was sending us pictures. And so that was his turn. And he got to do something. He got to pick something that he really loved. And of course, when mom picks, it's like all the shopping, Mexican for dinner. It's all the girly stuff. But he does. He goes with her and he puts up with the things that he doesn't necessarily enjoy. But kind of trading off and doing those things that, you know, you might enjoy specifically is really fun.
It's so good. I believe there's one word that I always think about, and that's just in be intentional. Be intentional about
That's good.
what you're going to do, whether it really is something that is super adventurous and it's all planned out and it's going to cost some money, and or if it's something that's pretty basic. Like for Carrie and I, we're very intentional about these podcasts and we have a blast together. But before that, dating for us a lot of times is going on a walk.
Yeah.
Like we love that, not just working on our health, but we are talking and we are laughing. And Carrie mentioned a couple minutes ago, but kind of, I guess a date on a budget really would be just going and grabbing a coffee somewhere, trying something new. Again, for me, it's just being intentional. It's not, oh, we're accidentally in the car alone together, so I guess we should talk. It's being intentional, like, hey,
Right.
I've got 30 minutes here. Let's go grab a coffee and just talk.
Yeah.
Or hey, all the kids are in the bed. And so for a lot of adults, that is your time to date. And so do it. I think for me, it's being intentional about making the time for it. It's not accident. Oh, oops, sorry. I guess this works. Especially, guys, let me give you a tip. If it's accidental and then you put it in the category of we went on a date, but it just kind of happened.
That's a bummer.
Women are not going to like that at all.
not
And
okay.
so it's not. So be very intentional. And Carrie, you kind of said it. So we've done coffee, we've done movies. Talk a little bit about, you and I are very different. You kind of like to be very adventurous, very spontaneous. And I'm a little bit of the opposite. So what if there's a couple out there, like you just mentioned, your parents, your mom hates baseball. I love baseball. I'd love to go to a game, but you don't. So what about the couple out there? It's like, we don't like anything in the same thing. Like we can't even go get coffee. He doesn't like coffee. He doesn't even like hot chocolate, So what about those that just, they don't match in anything? What do those people do?
I think you have to take turns and you have to consider the other person. Like for a long time, we were raising babies, and when the kids went to sleep, we couldn't go on a walk because they were under 5 years old, all of them, and we couldn't leave infants at home alone. So a lot of times what he would do is he would go pick up our favorite meal to go and you would bring it home and we would watch a show together. Most of the time you can find some kind of show that you like together. We really got into the Amazing Race for a while. Sorry, I'm coughing so much. So yeah, do something that you might not like the same exact thing, but think of something different. It doesn't necessarily have to be an activity. It doesn't have to be, agreeing on, I like coffee, but you don't like that. You like, a soft drink from McDonald's or something. It can be just something in your house. It can literally be as simple as, okay, go pick up our favorite chips and salsa and we'll sit here and watch The Amazing Race together while the kids sleep and we'll cuddle on the couch. It doesn't have to be this big intense thing. Or you just take turns. You just, okay, we're going to do something you like. And the key there is have fun. when you're on that other person's activity.
Right,
Make them
right.
feel good about it. Don't make them feel bad like, I've got to go with you because you don't like anything I like. You really enjoyed pickleball the other day, and that was the first time we played. And I'm not necessarily like super into sports, but then the next time I was at Target, I was sending you pictures of, hey, look at all this pickleball, are they paddles
The
or
paddles,
rackets?
yep.
The pickleball paddles, and here's like the pickleball outfits and hats and stuff like that. And so kind of being excited with him about next time we play, here's the gear that we could get to do that. And that made you happy.
I
Just
love that.
me
I
talking
love
about
that.
us doing that. Again, not necessarily on my radar for like the thing I want to do the most, but it made me excited
Right.
because it was just something that I knew you really enjoyed.
And I think if humanity could get this, that we should be genuinely happy for other people. And so, although you may not enjoy it, for me, knowing that Carrie is happy about something
Mhm.
makes me very happy. And not to toot my own horn, but I sent you a text today that said, "I'm so happy that you're happy." Carrie
Yeah.
just had some great news, and the Lord's really blessed in a couple of areas, and I was genuinely in a great mood just because I knew my wife was so happy about some things. And
Yeah.
I think if we could just, pouting doesn't help anyone. So it's like, okay, I'll do
Mhm.
this, but I'm gonna sit there and pout the whole time. It doesn't help anybody. Date that person, love that
Yeah.
person, be happy that they're enjoying. I remember I used to go play golf, and you used to jump in the golf cart with me. You
Mhm.
didn't play. Carrie just wanted to be with me, and I'd sit there and play, and I was just this. I was so proud to have my wife right by my side, and I was always trying to show off, and it
We
didn't work
have
out very well. But go
we
ahead.
have some of the best stories too. Excuse me.
You okay?
From dates. Yeah, I don't know why I'm coughing. From dates that we did for one of us and not necessarily both of us.
Yes,
And we
yes,
come away with the funniest stories. That
the
one
best.
time we went on a walk on the beach and it was late and I was tired. I didn't really want to go. But we went and we walked on the beach. And remember, it was like late at night. Your mom sat with the kids and we go down and we sit down. We're looking at the ocean. And remember that drunk couple came out
Oh, mercy.
and they didn't see us. And so we're just sitting there like holding our mouths, laughing
Watching them.
so hard. And they were being so crazy. And I was afraid. I was like, I feel like they're going to like run out in the ocean or like kill,
They
one of them is going to
were
kill the other. Like they were being
so
so
drunk.
drunk. And we were cracking up. Like we didn't want them to see us because they were being so unpredictable. We didn't know what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
so some of our greatest stories come from times where one of us sacrificed or we just did something that wasn't necessarily super planned or very traditional.
Yes.
And it turns out like it gives us years of laughs. Like,
I love
remember
it.
that time when,
I love
so be adventurous and have a good attitude. Have a
Yes.
good attitude no matter what you do. If it is as simple as he will text me and say, can you duck away from work for 30 minutes and grab lunch at McAllister's?
Mhm.
And we have had some of the best times in the shortest amount of time.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So if your intentions are to date, to love, to continue to get to know this person that you said I do too, one of the things that not always does this come into play, but something you really ought to try to incorporate, and that is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Be intentional about communicating with each other. Carrie said a minute ago, we really love watching a show together, and or we've built this podcast together. Like there's some technological things that we love to do, but most of the time when we're very intentional about our dating, we're intentional about communication. And I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you why is because we're being robbed of communicating with other people. No one
Mm.
knows their neighbors anymore.
Mm.
Everyone talks through text. It is a Marco Polo, Facebook Messenger, TikTok type of world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've missed out on the awesome blessing of communicating and talking and laughing. And
Yeah.
so I would say every once in a while, be intentional about doing something that is not a movie. It is not creating something. It is something that you're communicating with your spouse. That's why I think going out to eat is so important. And a tip I would give is leave your cell phone in the car. Like seriously, don't even have it at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have it out. it's super rude anyways to be
Yeah.
trying to talk to somebody. And for those of you watching YouTube, I've got a phone in my hand, and you're sitting there and you're but you're texting at the same time.
Right.
That grates on me. I can't take that with anybody. If I'm
Yeah.
having a conversation with anybody and they're texting, just kind of looking up at me, to be honest, I'm just done.
Yeah.
Like if you're not in this conversation enough just to give me 100% of your attention, it's over. And so I would be very intentional about dating and communicating, talking about good times. And I think not everybody's loves this, but I do care. And that is, I love communicating with you about the future. Some of the greatest moments I feel like is making these huge plans for our family, our finances, the church, ministry, helping people. Those dates are so fun to me. Just sitting down, being adventurous, eating at a new place, not Jimmy John's, eating at a place, and communicating with each other. What do you think, Kara?
Yeah, that's great. And also doing an activity where you have to engage with one another. I love what you said about the phone and even dinner. I mean, that if you're not great communicators to start out with and you say like, we go out to dinner, but it's a struggle to talk. I don't know what to say. I don't really know, beyond negative things about our life we need to fix. Like, what do I talk about? Because women can kind of get in that zone. As soon as they've got a husband's attention, they want to hash out all the things that are wrong with the kids and their family in the house. And why don't you do this and all that? But that's not really the time and place on a date. I mean, it's okay to bring up those things, but you don't want to turn it into a negative thing, because then the next time you want to go on a date, they're going to feel like, oh, I don't want to go, So I think it'd be good if you're not great communicators, start with an activity that's like a team building, right? Go to an escape room where you have to work together.
Oh, man.
No, you didn't like that idea.
No, I did. I was about to sneeze. Number one. Number two.
We just went to an escape room.
Maybe. I don't know. An escape room.
Fun.
You might. I mean, but if it's only a husband and wife.
Yeah, you could bring another couple.
You could get in an argument of like, why don't you figure it out? And
well, yeah, I mean, don't be competitive. It's just an escape room. Why are people so competitive?
They are. I could just see.
Okay, maybe not like, I don't know, something like go-karts, go on a boat ride, something that's like you're doing something together. I feel like you're not agreeing with this.
I do agree with this. I don't think anybody's going to go to go-karts.
Why? I love go-karts.
I have not ridden a go-kart since I was like 15.
Not the little ones, like I guess we're in Indy, so I'm thinking of like the big track where like you go and they're bigger.
No, I'm just joking with you. You're so right. It's just finding your escape room.
We're already. You come up with some. Let's see what you would do. Team building date night. Go.
All right, team building date night. You put me on the spot, so let me think. You know what you could do?
You would love go-karts.
You could go to one of those places where you both paint a picture together.
I would love to see Thomas Shepard sitting there painting a canvas.
I would not like it, but you might,
I would not like to do that with you.
How dare you?
That's so weird.
Okay.
I would do that with like Lois.
Okay. You're not dating Lois, you're dating me. So, and somebody else out there might like it.
A boat ride?
Okay, absolutely.
That'd be
Boat
fun.
ride would be amazing.
Yeah.
Rent some
like a paddle boat. Talk about team
we
building.
did actually a couple years ago rented. It was actually a jet boat. Remember?
That was so fun.
So awesome. Went all around this lake.
Horseback riding was fun.
That's a good one.
That was a blast.
Oh my goodness. We have some friends.
Yeah.
They live out west and we just need to make a trip out there because they're always like, come ride our horses. And you and I both love that.
I love to ride horses.
Oh,
that was a really good fun. That was a good date night.
If you are listening to this and you have horses, and
we want to be your
would
friend.
Like to spend some time with the Shepherds, it is forwardpodcast@gmail.com.
No, Outlook.
At outlook.com. I got so excited I forgot the email address. Like you just drop
or
us
a
a little
boat.
line there. We'll be.
If you're a friend and you have a boat, we also want to be a
friend. We want friends with boats too.
Yes, we do. Or kayaks. Kayaking was fun. We did that.
Yes.
But you're not really together.
Yeah. I mean, no, you can be.
Oh, you can do the 2-person one.
Yeah. If I'm going to go somewhere like let's just get on a boat and cruise like the whole lake would
You
be
don't want to do the
amazing.
work of
No, I don't.
rowing.
I mean, I could.
That's because I don't
but
help you. You
we
have to
did
do it
it.
all your own.
We went to Puerto Rico and we were both we were both in a canoe, or was it a kayak?
Kayak.
It was a
A
kayak.
2-person kayak.
Yes, it was a 2-person kayak. I finally told Carrie, just stop paddling, because she is like looking at everything, and we were heading off into the wild blue yonder.
In my defense,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
gave me like 45 seconds to figure it out. If I had like
should have
10
a little
minutes, I
patience.
probably would have been a little better.
It was fun though, and beautiful. And
It
then
was
yes,
so
you sat the
nice.
rest of the trip, and I
had
just
a
paddled along.
wonderful trip, and you were so sore the next
I
day.
was very tired. Very
That was
tired.
good. Yeah,
Anyways,
stuff like that.
these
That's
are
good.
things that just find something that you both love. We do
Yeah.
know couples that are both of them are super into sports. We know couples that are into one thing, and it's great. But if you're dating somebody, don't come up with the excuses of we don't have the money. Yes, you do. Find something. It's going
Mhm.
on a walk. It's intentional about putting the kids down. Guys, let me just put it this way: don't be cheap. Like, this is an investment. Get a babysitter. And for all the Christians out there, pay your babysitter good and get
Mhm.
out for an hour or two at least,
Mhm.
and get a community around you that can keep your kids.
Yeah.
This is an investment, and how much would you spend to have a great marriage? And
Mhm.
this is one great place to start. And so there's plenty of activities out there that's not
Mhm.
traveling to a different state to, rent a boat, or to go horseback riding. There's plenty of stuff. Carrie and I, 99.9% of the things that we do are relatively very inexpensive,
Mhm.
but we're intentional about getting away. We're intentional about communicating, and we're intentional about working on our relationship, because, Carrie, we both know over the next several episodes, we'll be talking about marriage. Satan's after our marriage.
Yeah.
He hates that we get along and we love each other, and we're
Mhm.
raising our kids to love Jesus. He hates that we're giving tips out there of how to get to know your spouse, because he wants to break you up. There is
Yeah.
no doubt Satan wants to destroy what God has put together. And so these are just small ways that truly you can come together,
Mhm.
be intentional, get away, communicate, big, little, doesn't matter. Have those opportunities where you get away. Let me
Yeah.
ask you, Kara, real quick. How often do you think people should be intentional about getting away? I know a lot of books say a lot of different, once a month, once a week, twice a week. What do you think is healthy?
I think once a week. I mean, it depends too on like what you do. If you're doing bigger date nights that do cost more, and you might, go on a horseback ride one night, or you want to go to a nicer restaurant, then you might need to wait a little longer in between if it's not fitting your budget, but you really like the nicer date nights and you want to be away for 2 or 3 hours, then that's fine. But if you're
good.
just running, like if you're okay, we're going to walk, 3 miles together every week, then, once a week is not too much. If you're
Right.
just going for coffee,
Right.
I mean, we do about twice a week. And again, that's a 20-minute date, but it's our life stage right now. So it really depends on what you do. But I do think
Sorry.
everyone should absolutely be getting away overnight together at least once a year, if not
That's
twice.
so true.
Overnight.
So true.
And it can be one night. Like, you don't have to go for a whole week. I mean, if you can, great, awesome. The more you can, the better. But especially in this busy stage of life, and if you're raising children, you really do need at least one night away, if not 2 a year, where you're 2 days, one night, you're getting a hotel or an Airbnb or whatever, and you're alone together for an extended period of time. I
Yeah.
know for me, those times that we do that fill me up. I'm able to completely just focus on you. We talk a lot, and those extended times you can kind of get into a little bit more as far as like discussing your future and discussing the kids and kind of goals and things like that, because you have the time.
Mhm.
It's not like a quick, oh, we're out to dinner and we get in an argument and come home and it's awkward. You have the time to just sit, put your phones down, and talk about your life and your
Yes.
goals as a
Yes.
couple. So I definitely encourage that. You need a few nights away a year together.
I love it.
Yeah.
And for us, we plan at least once a year, very intentional about
Hmm.
we're going to get away. But then there are so many opportunities we do, praise the Lord, we have to speak out at different places. And because we're doing more and more marriage conference or family conferences, that also gives us that opportunity. Jump on an
Yes.
airplane together, fly together,
Yeah.
stay, do our lectures together, and then fly back. And not everyone has that opportunity. So if you don't have an opportunity with work, then just plan. If you live in a bigger area, or all 50 states are so gorgeous, find somewhere that's an hour or two away,
Hmm.
and just find that time. Because Kara, you're so right. There is something that is just magical about being away,
Yeah.
not worrying about home, especially overnight. You just get to know your spouse once
Yeah.
again on that just deeper level. It's wonderful. It's so
And
great.
just a note to the ladies, like if your husband puts in the time and effort to plan, or he even goes along with you planning an overnight stay somewhere to work on your marriage, put the work in for him. Look nice. Work on your looks. It is
Mm,
important to a man how his woman looks, and it doesn't have to be according to anyone else's standards but his.
mm,
If you know he likes you in a certain outfit, if he likes the way you do your hair a certain way, like put the work in to look that way for him. I think as moms, and even if you don't have children, just as we go along in our marriage, like we can kind of get lost in
mm, mm.
looking a certain way and kind of our preferences. And there's a lot of times before we leave for a trip, I'll say like, what top do you like me in? What outfit do you like me in that I've worn lately
That's
that
good.
you've thought like, oh, she looks really good, or she looks really pretty in that? Don't I? I do
Oh,
that
all
all
the
the
time.
time. I'm
Yeah,
asking
all the
him if
time.
we're going to be alone together.
Mhm.
I mean, most of the time I already know, but there's a lot of times I'll say like, what do you want me to wear? Or wear, a hat of his favorite team. If he likes you in a hat, like throw it on of his favorite team, or do those things with intention, a little extra makeup. Or if you are a makeup girl like me and he's like, I like you with no makeup, I like the natural look, then do that for him. Who cares? I mean, put the work in to look how he appreciates. And I think that makes a big difference. Be fun.
Absolutely.
Wear the red lipstick, put on the high heels if you're going on a trip together, or whatever it might be. I know for us, you like the makeup, the feminine. He likes all the, you're from the South, so you like a little Southern belle. And I like to do that for him. I like to dress up and look fancy for him. And that's a fun thing. That's
I
a
know.
great thing to put that work in for your husband.
And it's funny too, because I can just hear people right now listening to this, and it's so funny how we automatically run to, I'm not doing that. Good grief. That's the problem with so many marriages nowadays, is they're not willing to invest or put in. It's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I dated that person and I looked my best then we get married, and it's almost like husband and wife both give up on themselves. They overeat, they overindulge themselves,
Mhm.
they're frumpy. It's really sad. And then you stare at each other like, why don't you love me? And you don't even love yourself enough to get fixed up and help
Mm.
yourself. And so,
Wow.
yeah, Kara, I love that.
That's
That
good.
is. Do you hear that again?
Mhm.
Is your phone?
No.
Anyways, it goes a long way, and I appreciate you saying that, Kara. That's
Aw,
that's great, and I
yeah,
think all the guys out there
it's
were
true.
giving you a big old amen. So,
You're welcome.
hey, listen, we got to end this episode, but I will say this: just share your own stories with us. We'd love to hear, whether by Messenger, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We do have a TikTok channel that we're getting going here very soon. Or if you like to just email us at forwardpodcast@outlook.com. You've got a couple extra tips. Hey, we do
Mhm.
this. This is a great area. We want to hear that, and
Yeah.
we'll try to include it in an upcoming episode. And we're going to have several parts to this series of keeping the love alive.
Yes.
And again, we just want to try to encourage you, inspire you to invest in your relationship with your husband and your wife. And man, Kara, this has been a great episode.
It's been great. And I'm excited to hear how more couples are going to start enjoying their
Yeah,
marriages.
it's gonna be
Enjoy
cool.
your husband, enjoy your wife, put work into them, and understand that this reward for what you put in will come back. I love that you use the word investment. The investment into another person always comes back to you. It
That's
really
right.
will in one way or another. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and put these practices into play.
Yes. Awesome. We'll see you next episode.